Good morning. So, this morning I wanted to talk to you about your morning routine. This came up last night on our group call, our weekly men's group call. And I asked the question, what's your morning routine? Because it's important to have a routine. Uh, and some people on the call, some guys on the call didn't have a routine, and that's okay, right? We're not talking about doing it right or doing it wrong. What we're talking about is the benefit of having a routine, of having something that works for us. So for me, my routine, my morning routine is that I get up, I make a cup of coffee, um, and then I sit down and I read. And I've got something that I read every morning, and it's a little bit of a, it's very short, and it's all kind of a daily sort of thing, and then you can make your way through that pretty quickly, and then I journal, right? Then uh, I write down my thoughts, just kind of like brain dumping whatever's going on, and then I move on with my day. Now, uh, that gives me the opportunity to purge. It gives me the opportunity to work through whatever thoughts that I've got going on. Because a lot of times we have chatter, we have things going on in our brain, we have leftover thoughts from yesterday. We've got all of these um, little pieces and parts that we just need to kind of organize and process and move through. And a lot of times our thoughts are just kind of there in our brain, right? We'll have competing thoughts. We'll have more than one thought that will conflict with another thought. And each time we have a thought, it produces a feeling in us. And that feeling is, let's just, just admit that it's kind of like a vibration, right? It's kind of like it's not necessarily something that we can put words to. It's something that we feel. And a lot of times, if we have more than one thought and more than one feeling, we'll have a lot of different vibrations going on in our body. We'll have a lot of different um, things bouncing around on the inside of us, and we need an opportunity to be able to work those things out, right? We need an opportunity to be able to self-soothe, to self-coach, to be able to acknowledge and process what's going on. And so, having a morning routine, having something that we can, write down our thoughts and be able to move that through, works out really well. So, I've come to the point where this is extremely important to me. Like, I do it every day. Even when I travel, I take at least, 10, 15 minutes to sit down and do my reading and do my journaling. And even if I just brain dump a little bit, it helps. It helps exponentially. And so on the call last night, on the Monday night weekly men's group call, some of the guys said they have a hard time with journaling, that writing down their thoughts, that being consistent with it is something that they struggle with. And I understand. For many years, I couldn't quite get that consistency, but that was mainly because I hadn't really enjoyed the benefits of it yet. And once I really understood the benefits to myself, it became easy for me to find that consistency, to make it a priority. But for anyone who is in maybe a perfectionist mindset, maybe thinking that they can't make any mistakes, they have to get everything right. Maybe they're afraid that somebody else is going to read their thoughts and judge them. Then sometimes this can be a barrier to being able to sit down and write, because it's, you're staring at the blank page, you're trying to figure out what to put down on it. And this is why I recommend to men that they push that stuff out of their mind, that this journal isn't for anybody else, that they're really just keeping it for themselves, that what they're doing is they're essentially just brain dumping whatever comes to mind. And there's no right or wrong. The teacher's not going to pull out a red pen and grade them. They're they don't have to get the grammar right. They don't have to get the handwriting right. They don't have to get the spelling right. They don't have to do anything right. They don't even have to make coherent sentences. As long as they're writing down kind of what's going on in their mind and then being able to work that through, then this is the benefit of writing it down. Now again, if this is still a barrier to the creative process, right, to working this through, one of the things that we can do, and this is what we talk about a lot in the renewed masculine man, is that we actually recommend doing 3 minute dumps. So you basically turn on the camera, kind of like we're doing right now, and for 3 minutes, you just kind of brain dump. You just say the things that are on your mind and anything that's associated with that, right or wrong, good or bad, right? Whether it's what somebody else is thinking or what you're thinking or what you think the details of the situation are or whatever. And this is your dump. This is your 3 minute dump. Now, it could end right there. You could just have the 3 minute dump and not do anything else, right? You could just maybe leave that on your camera roll or delete it or whatever. It really wouldn't matter. But a lot of times, what we can do is we can actually go back and listen to that 3 minute dump, and we'll hear things that we didn't hear before, that we didn't recognize that we said. I mean, we'll hear things that we're like, I said that? When did I say that? I don't even remember saying that. And so that's important. And then, of course, being part of something like the Renewed Masculine Man inside of mentoring.men is that you're going to share that with the group. You're going to upload that and share that with the group, and then you get a series of men who are objectively outside of you, right? Who are not necessarily intimately familiar with your speech patterns all the time, who will be able to hear something that you didn't hear, right? They'll be able to challenge, they'll be able to ask questions, they'll be able to highlight pieces and parts. And that is exceptionally useful. And so if you don't have a community like that, if you don't have men in your life or others that you can share those things with, I highly recommend checking out mentoring.men. But if you don't have that, you can still do the 3 minute dumps. You can do those dumps and you can say, hey, this is what's going on in my mind. And then you can go back and listen to that again. Now, so we got journaling. We got the 3 minute dumps. Where's the camera? We got the 3 minute dumps. There's two. Okay, one and one. There's two. And now, so the third thing is that you can actually just talk out loud to yourself. Get in the habit of talking out loud to yourself. And this is something that people, the first thing that they go to is their mind is like, well, what are people going to think? Are people going to think I'm crazy? Are people going to judge me? But let's be honest. These days, everybody has. I mean, look at me. I'm walking around in the park with a camera, recording. These days, everybody's got something going on. Nobody's paying attention to what you're doing. They're all thinking about what everybody else is thinking about them. And we've got earbuds. We've got phone calls, we've got Zoom calls, we've got videos that we're watching. We're just, we're not in that space anymore where if we saw somebody talking to themselves on the street, we might think that they were crazy. So I say, talk to yourself like a crazy person. Talk out loud. Get your thoughts out. Be able to hear yourself say things. And here's the interesting thing is that a lot of times what we do is we're actually afraid of ourselves. We're afraid to say the things that we really want to say. We're afraid to be honest. And when that really shows up is when you say things out loud. So if you're saying, this really bothered me, she really upset me, I'm angry, I'm pissed, whatever the expression is, you start being really honest about how you're feeling about something, and you'll start to get uncomfortable. You'll start to get to a point where you might actually begin to recognize that, wow, this really makes me uncomfortable. And so it gives you some insight into how your thoughts are making you feel, how you're holding yourself back, how you're resisting, how you're holding something in and stuffing it down. And so that's really important. So I say, talk to yourself like a crazy person. Be able to get that stuff out. Be able to say it out loud, and then to be able to hear yourself. Because a lot of times when we have that inner dialogue going on with all the other thoughts and stuff, it sounds very different than in our head than it does out loud. And there's a phrase for that. There's an expression for that, right? It sounded better in my head. That's exactly what it is. When we have these thoughts, when we have these feelings, these vibrations going on in our head and our body, when they're bouncing around with each other, when they're conflicting, they sound very different in our head than if we say them out loud and can hear them. So there you go. Journaling, 3 minute dump, and talking out loud. These are the ways that we can purge what we've been holding in. It's how we can process what we have been holding in. And it's a way that we can heal, that we can move forward, we can let go of things that aren't serving us. So I hope that's been helpful for you. So have a great day. Have a great week. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.